Hey everyone, welcome to GHT Time where we discuss all things General Hospital. So guys, don't forget to hit that bell notification so you'll know when we drop a new video. And I would say get your tea, get your snacks, put your feet up, and let's get ready to recap this very eventful episode. GH Daily Recap, Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. So, guys, there's a bunch of people in this episode, action packed. We had some Dante, we had Felicia, Willow, Jason, and a bunch more. So, let's see what our favorite characters are up to. Jason came up to see Britt, and he snuck up on the little fire escape thing that's outside of her apartment. And he came to get the medicine because him and Britt had that plan of cloning her medicine, and then Britt told him they took it. So she's upset, she was crying and stuff, and she's basically telling Jason, look, this plan is over. There's nothing more they can do. That's the one thing about Britt I don't like. She's easy to give up, but Jason is just still telling her that don't worry about it, we're gonna figure something out, it's not over, just don't get upset. Let's just try to figure this out. So Britt feels hopeless, and Jason told her he would be back. After Jason left, Cullen came to Britt's room, and he was like, yeah, he took the medicine. So Cullen took the medicine because he wants to control it, because he said he doesn't like that Britt, he seems like Britt is stalling, which is crazy because Britt went over to Windermere, and she is stalling a little bit, but she did go over there. And he said, well, until then, I'll give you the medicine. So basically, he's telling her he'll give it to her a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. Now, Britt has got a valid point. She's like, I have to go to work and stuff like that. I can't be going to Windermere every time I need this shot. So he was like, well, figure it out. And I'm just like, they are leaving this woman in an impossible position. And so Colin leaves, right? Britt's upset still, but then he returns later and he has one shot for her. He says, well, he thought about what she said. He's like, yeah, I need you in good condition, so I have a shot for you. So Britt is like, great, give me a shot. She was going to give it to herself. And he's like, no, he'll do it. This dude is so creepy, okay? So Britt is like, I'm a doctor. I can give myself a shot. He's like, he doesn't care. He wants to give it to her. So he takes the vial and puts the little cap in his mouth and holds up the needle so he can give it to Britt while he's staring at her. I was like, Britt should have took that needle and stabbed him with it. But anyway, um, this is her new reality. I hope Jason can hurry up and get these people off her back because this is not going to end well. So basically, Cullen is like, if you want this medication, you have to do what we say, right? And now he's like, I'm controlling each dose that you get. So she has no wiggle room. So we'll see how this is going to end up. Hopefully, Jason figures out how to get some of what's in that bottle. Jason goes to Dante's office and tells him, what Emma had told him about Anna being in France. And they're finding Anna, and she's like disorientated, and she's saying Faison's alive. And he also asked Dante, how long has it been since you heard from Anna? And he was like, it's been a while. So when Dante hears this, he's like, this is crazy because Faison is gone. He died. And Jason's convinced. He was like, no, Faison cannot be alive because he shot him. Now, let's use logic, right? So Britt's back, who was supposed to be dead. Nathan's back, who's supposed to be dead. And then Jason is back, who was supposed to be dead. So, and they kind of shouldn't say it's impossible for somebody to be alive because he shot him. It's never impossible. I mean, they should write that a little bit better than that. But anyway, Jason's convinced that Faison is not alive, and he's saying that he's going to go to France to go talk to Anna and see what's going on. Later on, Jason came back to talk to Dante, and he basically told Dante he can't go to France to meet up with Anna because her family's going to be there and stuff like that, so she should be all right. He has something that came up, and then Jason just leaves, right? Because Dante was kind of like, well, can't you go? He set it up so that they knew Jason was coming, and Jason was like, no, I have to do something, and he just kind of breaked out. But what happened was, after speaking with Britt, he was like, I can't leave. Like, I got to figure something out, which makes sense because it cuts into his time of trying to figure out how to get that medication from somewhere. I guess he's gonna have to sneak into Windermere or something like that to get Britt's medication so that he can get this thing analyzed. Sorry about that. He said he get it analyzed, and then he's probably trying to come up with some kind of plan to figure this out. So going to France would have definitely cut into that. So I understand him going to Dante and saying I'm not going, and I'll be all right. Her family's on the way. She didn't need Jason there anyway. Dante asked Nathan to come in, and he basically wanted to know to Nathan. He told him about what happened with Anna, and he said to Nathan, what do you think about this? Because do you think your father could be alive? Do you have any information? He says, no. What would I know about this? And he was also, Dante was saying, well, I know what type of police officer you are. I know you've been trying to investigate yourself to see what happened to you in the 7 years that you've been gone. And, they kind of went back and forth with that. But Nathan was telling Dante he has no idea. He doesn't know if his father's alive or not. So we'll see what happens with that. So Emma sees Felicia. And she's telling Felicia about how she got the phone call, how Anna's in France, and that she needs help. And Felicia's like, okay, we're going to go to France and find out what's going on with Anna. Now, I have to say, a little side note, I really like the actress that plays Emma. I think she's doing a really, really good job playing this character because she was really convincing she was really upset about her grandma being gone and that she knew something was wrong and she should have spoke up before that. So she's really concerned about Anna. Felicia and Emma are still talking, and Matt comes up. He says he already got a flight. He's going to go out to get Anna and see what's going on. Emma's like, I'm coming too, right? She's like, I'm not going to stay here with my grandma. I'll pay for my own ticket. And Felicia and Matt are like, no, you should stay because it could be dangerous. I don't blame Emma. I would get on a plane and go see about my grandmother too. I'm like, I don't like that they were trying to shut her down and saying no, she couldn't come. She's grown up. She can go. But Emma put her foot down. She's like, if you don't pay for it, I'm going. I want to see what's going on with my grandmother. So all three of them are going to France to see what's going on with Anna. The one thing I don't like, it seems like they're trying to lead up to like Anna had this nervous breakdown or something like that. And I'm like, Anna's not, they know Anna's strong. So something had to happen to her. So I hope they don't just blow her off like she's crazy now and no one's going to listen to her because obviously something is going on. Justine came over to talk to Sonny. She said as a courtesy, she's letting him know that she's going to question Michael and what happened to Drew. I think Justine came over to flirt with Sonny. So these two are flirting back and forth, but she also let Sonny know, if I catch you in a crime, I'm going to prosecute you to the fullest extent. And I'm not sure she would do that. I think she's kind of falling for Sonny, but she's acting like she's doing it under the guise of that she would take him down. I don't know. I know that they are probably slowly pushing these two together. I actually don't mind Sonny and Justine together. I just wish they wouldn't make her like all the other DA women from before when they fall for Sonny and then they give up their career. They need to find like a middle ground for Justine where she's not chasing Sonny around. That she and Sonny can have some type of relationship without having to chase him. But whatever, we'll see what happens with this. But I feel like she came over more to flirt with Sonny than to actually tell him as a courtesy that she's questioning Michael. Willow came over to see Nina and tells Nina how Martin was at Drew's house and he was freeloading. But Martin gave her an update and said Tracy came over and took her stuff back, right? Willow, bright bulb, goes off above her head and says, well, maybe Michael was there. Do you think Michael was there helping her take her stuff back? Maybe I can use this in my custody case. I understand she wants to see her kids, but she is acting straight erratic. It's like, calm down. No, Michael wasn't there trying to get that stuff back. But anyway, Nina's trying to talk her down, and she's just like, you need to calm down. You don't want to be those parents that are just like going at each other. If you're like the sensible parent, it works better in your favor. And let me tell you, for a change, Nina was talking some sense, but Willow is not listening to her. Willow is just like, she is going to start using every tactic known to man so that she can get her kids back. She's going to start fighting dirty. What's really weird is that all Willow had to do to see her kids was to get rid of Drew. She said she's done everything that she can think of to be civil to Michael, and she's tired of this. She's going to start fighting back. All Michael ever asked before the whole thing happened with baby Daisy, was he didn't want Drew around his kids. She would not do that. That makes no sense. Like, no sense. That's all she had to do to see her kids. So now her thing is, I'm gonna start fighting dirty. But we all know her dirty is gonna be totally different than um pulling up some saying bad words or something like that. She's getting ready to fight really, really dirty. I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to frame Michael or throw him in the basement or something crazy. So we're gonna see where Willow's gonna go with this. But Nina's trying to talk some reason into her. I don't think Willow's listening. Michael and Diane were talking. Diane was trying to stress to Michael how serious the situation is, and he kind of not needs to not split his attention because right now Michael is worried about the custody fight, and then he's worried about this thing. So he's assuring Diane that he wasn't there. He didn't do this to Drew, you know. So Diane believes him, and they were waiting for 88 Turner to come in to question Michael. Molly comes in instead of 88 Turner and Nathan. So Nathan and Molly come in to question him. So Diane said, listen, I have to refer to my client because this is a conflict of interest. Can you guys step out for a minute? Nathan kind of pushed back and was like, well, what's the big deal? And she's like, these are serious charges. You know, this is a big deal. So Nathan was like, okay, you know, he fell back, went on about his way, and him and Molly stepped out the room. Diane was like, this is a good thing for them because Molly is a little biased when it comes to the situation because she's his family. So anyway, Molly and Nathan come back in. They question Michael, and you know he was like, "What do you think?" to Diane. He's, you know, and they just kind of left it like that. Um, so 88 Turner was talking to Molly and Nathan, and she had to admit, she asked Molly what does she think after doing the question, and Molly had to admit that she is biased, you know. So, but she said she seems like, you know, she doesn't know which way, one way or the other. Nathan thinks that Michael stuck to the story, and he doesn't think that Michael. He didn't really say he don't think Michael's innocent, but he just was like he stuck to the story, right? So he doesn't think that he's lying. But 88 Turner is saying somebody has to pay for this. A congressman was shot. Somebody has to pay for the situation. To me, I think she needs to get away from this. It's really messy. She knows that Willow did it. She needs to kind of just let this go because this is just gonna blow up in her face. And losing all these cases, she gonna probably get demoted. So she needs to just leave this where it's at. So guys, that was the end of the episode. If you haven't already, hit the bell notification, hit the like and subscribe because it really helps the channel. And thank you for joining us at GHT time. And I will see you again shortly. Bye.